Hello, it's 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on November 5th. Hope you guys are doing well. I am here live to kind of touch base on everything that's happened the last few days. Um, it's been an interesting Tuesday, which I am really still kind of shocked of what happened, only because that was a curb stomping. That was an absolute curb stomping that the Democratic Party handed out to Republicans on these off election days. Not even the midterm yet. We'll talk about that. Talk about the Republicans' response. Yeah, that was beautiful, Mike Johnson. Yeah, it's basically ignore that man behind the curtain. No, we're fine. Everything we're doing is all good. Yeah, okay, whatever. Anyway, so we'll take that piece by piece. We need to discuss that the shutdown is still going on. We're on day 36, going into 37. There is no end in sight. There are no negotiations going on. And so we're going to see what happens soon, because the shit's about to hit the fan, with Sean Duffy talking about what they're going to do with airports and airline capacity. That's another thing to pressure. SNAP is another issue. Food assistance is another issue that we have to talk about. And then also, we need to talk about we seriously need to talk about Donald Trump's mental capacity, because he had two speeches today. One, speeches or press conference, I don't know what you want to call them. One, he was brought in all the Republican senators after the election to basically go after him. That speech was, oh my God. That speech was a typical Trump speech, but it had some interesting tidbits I want to talk about. First tidbit is his idea that the reason that it went, that the Republicans died on the vine on Tuesday is because he wasn't on the ballot. And his ego's ridiculous. We know that's not true. Okay. We know he was on the ballot. It was about him. Prop 50 in California was about Trump. Period. To respond to the gerrymandering in Texas. And before I hear everyone talking about, well, the Democrats, why are they doing it? No one would have done this if Trump hadn't prompted his puppet with his stick at the end of his butt to do that in Texas. No one would have done that. And Gavin Newsom did the one thing that Democrats have not done for years, is respond properly. Most of the time we whine, cry, and go to the court. And then whine and cry some more when they do it. But damn, not this time. He went all in, but he did it in a way with the referendum. First of all, he got a court test it, and the court said, hey, you can do it. And now with that the state voted for it, 65%. It was not even close. The opposition to Prop 50 just disappeared because California Republicans couldn't get enough people together, and they didn't get any support for the national GOP. What a shock, huh? Wonder where that money went. And so it's been an interesting. So that's what that happened there. So that was a response. That's a response we should have had a long time ago when it came to this. If you're watching this live, give me some hearts. I would appreciate it. But also Trump, if you look at it with Trump, he is kind of surprised. He's surprised at what happened. I think even every Republican was surprised of the depth of the of their loss. I mean, you could take it one-on-one. I mean, let's talk about Virginia. Virginia wasn't even close. And that was, but see, to an extent, the governor's race wasn't close. And I expected the governor to win. What I did not expect is that they turned 13 House delegate seats over in the Virginia legislature that gave the Democrats control. They flipped the seats in Republican spots. Okay, and then they won the attorney generals, lieutenant governors. That was a sweep. And that's something that that was surprising, because the problem, what I was concerned about last night, was that you're going to have the up end of the ticket be fine, but the lower end of the ticket was going to suffer. You're going to get Republicans still winning their normal positions. But it didn't happen. And I was like, wow, this is wow. And you go into New Jersey, and there were signs that New Jersey was going to be close. It really was. It was going to be close. But it turned out to be not close. That was, wow. New Jersey just went. And that's surprising. Because, again, you don't know till the rubber hits the road. And then it started to kind of steamroll. Mondani was going to win the New York mayoral race. There was no doubt about that. There's no way Cuomo was coming back from that disaster that he had with all the debates. I mean, and Trump endorsed him, and he tried to walk away from Trump. The only problem is, Cuomo, you called Trump after you lost the primary and said, "Hi, can you help me?" So you can't run away from it. You're stuck. And also, you and Trump have a lot in common when it comes to certain things, as we found out in those debates. So that was expected, okay? I mean, that's why at the end they had went all out with all the Islamic phobia, the hate, all of it, because that's all they had left. Fear and culture war. And that's where Republicans are now realizing today they done messed up. Okay? Because as with each one of these races, people on the Democratic side were talking about affordability. Affordability. Where are you better now or you were a year ago? Hey, GI. And the answer is, oh, hell no. They could see it. And the other thing is the chaos. Let's be honest with the chaos, okay? Every day you see what ICE is doing, all right? That's chaos. And they keep, and everyone sees it around, and it's non-stop stuff that Trump does. Chaotic, chaos stuff. Things aren't getting solved, they're being exasperated. I mean, whether or not you give a crap whether he knocked down the east end of the White House, I do, because that's history. He basically took a mallet to history to build something no one really wants. But side note, I'm really laugh at the videos of poor MAGA people defending the ballroom. You've never seen a ballroom. You never will step foot in a ballroom. You can't even rub two pennies together. And you defend that. That's cult behavior. And if you're watching live, share it, hearts if you can. Anyway, so we can get a few more viewers there and get some questions going. If you want to be a guest, ask, and I will bring you up. Anyway, let's see. Anyway, so it's just chaos, and everyone is just kind of on top of a worry about people not having a job, not having medical care, if I'm going to feed myself or feed my family, what the hell, right? And so it kind of snowballs. So when you're presenting with someone like Mondami who trying to breaks it down, understand the thing about Republicans, okay, and their message has been for pretty much 4 decades, is that it was the opposite of what JFK said. Not ask what your country can do for you, what you can do for your country. Okay. What Republicans have done is that they have basically using the trickle down theory of economics, which is bullshit. Is that they have taken the idea that government doesn't do for you. Government doesn't help you. It hurts you. The government does things to you, not for you. Okay? And then they hopped in on the idea that government programs do not help people who are worthy. Hence the tropes going from the 80s, welfare queens, lazy, freeloaders, they don't have a job. But those are coaxed in racism. We know this. You can feel it. You can see all the videos of people talking about SNAP. Those are all code words. Okay? It's code words for them. So they have run on fear. Fear of people taking stuff from you. Fear of the other. Fear of, name your transphobia. Fear of LGBTQIA. Fear that the strangers come in and take your stuff. Fear of crime. Fear of this. Fear of that. Fear is what they ran on. And when they get elected, they can't govern with fear. That's why, they try to govern with fear, hence once they get into power, they take things away from you. Roe v. Wade gone. Your rights. Who you can marry, can't marry. What designates your personal life. That's all Republicans have run on. Okay? Now, Trump, when he ran last year, he said, he ran on affordability. Now, he didn't have a plan. He just said, basically, I'm going to touch the economy and it will become better. Okay? So we've been close to a year now. Well, not since he took office. We're getting into there. Since he was elected. Is it better? No, it's worse. Because he took a good economy and crushed it with tariffs. And incompetent people running the economy. All you have to do is the Treasury Secretary, who has no idea really what he's doing. Commerce Secretary has no idea. They're all sycophants. As simple as that. The only thing that matters to them to Trump is that they're loyal to him. So that became the thing. That's what they've been running on. And that's what they figured this election would still work, hence the fear. What they found out, though, is that people didn't want to hear that chaos. They wanted solutions to their problems. They want to know, how you're going to make me feel better. How are you going to help government help me? Because they found out with the shutdown, you kind of need government to help you or to keep programs running. See, when Elon Musk, by the way, Musk is now coming back into the whatever. But when they come, government does run stuff that we use and helps people. But with Doge and everything, they ripped everything apart. And they made it worse. They made it complicated. They made it chaotic. And then came that bill that basically stripped everything down. Now remember, Trump at that White House at the press conference was talking about SNAP, and he was saying that SNAP had billions of dollars more. I got rid of it because it wasn't supposed to help everyone. It was supposed to only help those who are really needy. Joe Biden let everyone on SNAP. That's why they cut what, $350 billion from SNAP in the budget bill, including Medicaid. Why? Because they had to pay for the tax cuts for the rich. I mean, that's what they did. So when when it came down to the shutdown, which is about one thing, guys, and one thing only. Let's be honest. The only thing that Snap, the only thing that the shutdown is about the Affordable Care Act. Okay. Trump has been trying to, and the Republicans are trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act since it existed. Okay. For Trump, it's not even about the health care. It's about, because they keep calling it Obamacare. And anything Obama does drives him nuts. Okay. He's still got this in his head. Okay. So when they see this as an opportunity with the subsidies, because people are getting their, what it's going to cost them to sign up an open enrollment for ACA, and it's ridiculous. There was one woman I saw that's at a town hall talking about she got her estimate what her health care is going to be. It's going to be 250% more. Why? Because they're pulling the subsidies. And this is the idea is that they're going to choke it off. They figure if they make it so expensive no one uses it, ACA fails, and then they can say, see, it was a failure. What's your replacement? See, it was a failure. That's a replacement. Every time they ask Trump, they ask Mike Johnson, what's your replacement? We're working on it. And Mike Johnson's like, Republicans care about health care. Yeah, right. And here's the thing about the shutdown I want to bring up. They don't want to negotiate. This could be easily solved. Now, this could be easily solved. You sit down, negotiate, come up with something about the ACA. Okay? Now, there were rumors that the Democrats were about ready to cave in and trade some bullshit thing about getting a floor vote, and then they would give them the votes they need to pass the CR. A couple of moderate Democrats like Mark Kelly were worried because the SNAP and things about ready to go on with air traffic control. Was going to flash back on them. I don't know if they've been listening to the polls outside of what they're being told by their own pollsters. They can't trust their pollsters within the Democratic Party because they're beholden to money, to their corporate donors. Okay? But we all see the polls. We all see that. Republicans are getting blamed for this. But there was rumors on that. There was, before the election, middle of the road senators were negotiating with the Republicans behind closed doors. Basically tried to sell out the Democratic Party. Then came the election. Then came Trump dragging every Republican in and demanding that the filibuster be removed. Okay, that's when they all decided, okay, we're good, okay. But I do want you all to do this for me, and I did this today, okay. This is the switchboard number for Washington, D.C., the congressional switchboard number. Write it down. 202-224-3121. Call your senators. If you're in a state with Democratic senators, call them. Leave a message. My senators are Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff, which I know are not in on that. They're fighters. They'll fight to the end. But I left a message for them, tell them, hey, don't quit. And then I left a message for Chuck Schumer. I was polite, but I was telling him, do not capitulate. Because once you give a bully your lunch money, one day, he's going to come for the rest of it tomorrow. It's simple as that. You cannot not capitulate at this time. You're in too deep. You have to make them blink. And they're teetering. Because Trump's biggest mistake today was, again, telling those senators to their face, you have to get rid of the filibuster. Okay? Excuse me. So, just so you know, if They're not clear what that is. Because a lot of people don't. They kind of don't understand it because it's just a word salad. All that is ending debate. Because you're going to have unlimited debate on a bill in the Senate. In the House, they have House rules. What they do, and then they can limit debate so much, and then you have to have a vote. Okay. In the Senate, to call for a vote, you have to call for the end of debate. And in 1907, they came up with the concept of the filibuster, so the minority party wouldn't get steamrolled. Now, at first, the filibuster was two-thirds. Two-thirds. And you had to stand up. Okay? This is the difference then and now. In the old days, and as someone said when I did a video earlier, or talked about it, have you ever seen the movie Mr. Smith Goes to Washington? That's a true filibuster. You could not leave the Senate floor. You had to have people keep talking and talking and talking. And then, if you left the Senate floor, then debate would end. Okay? You couldn't just do what they do now, which is sign and say, we're filibustering, debate will not end. And so, in 1975, Harry Reid, who was the head of the Senate, got him to do cloture, which is 60 votes. And that's just where we are now. Democrats didn't remove the filibuster when Biden was in charge. Yeah, Placero, that's true. Let me see what happens when Dems are in charge. That's why the Republicans won't do it. John Thune won't do it. Lindsey Graham, after his, oh my God, that speech, if you saw it, you know what I'm talking about. After the breakfast meeting with Republicans and they threw the press out, there are reports. You notice that even in closed-door meetings, it only takes like within an hour, hour and a half, there's leaks coming out of these meetings. No one keeps a secret in the Trump regime. No one does. And basically, the discussion was about him pressuring senators to get rid of the filibuster. And he wouldn't, and they're like, no. And Lindsey Graham said, well, why can't we do it through reconciliation? You can't. You can't, because this is not a true budget. We know this. You've already tried that. All right? The Senate parliamentarian said this does not fall under reconciliation. You need cloture to end debate. And Trump went after Lindsey Graham to remind him, you cannot do that. He's desperate. And the thing about it is, if they do it, okay, do it. At one point, everyone's going, okay, they can do everything. Yes. They also got to take the blame for it. They have to take the blame for it. You kill the ACA, people are going to blame Republicans. Why? Because they have the majority. They're using it. We tried, but they killed the filibuster. Here we are. And they know that is a bad political move. And after last night, they know it's a really bad political move. Because let's be honest, they may stand up right now, today, in front of their podiums, behind and at Fox News and Newsmax and CNN and their tweets and their postings and say, that means nothing. They were just Democratic strongholds. We knew they were going to win. Yeah, that doesn't mean anything. Dismiss it. You saw Mike Johnson's shtick today? Yeah, people love what the Republicans are going to do. Yeah, come 2026, we're going to re-elect everybody. Yeah, brother, sure. That's why I believe 60 members of your caucus are not running for re-election. That's why Marjorie Taylor Greene is a mass panic here, trying to focus her image because MAGA isn't working for her in her district. And she really, really wants to be governor, or she wanted to run for Senate of the United States, and they wouldn't let her. They wouldn't let her. They didn't want her to run for Senate against John Ossoff. Because let's be honest, John Ossoff would kill her. John Ossoff would run her over. it wouldn't even been funny. It's not even going to be funny now because I'm going to bring up a couple things that happened that flips this whole argument of Mike Johnson and the rest of them. Is that Virginia is not considered a blue state; it's a purple state, and the amount of distance, or the amount of percentages between the wins was ridiculous, and they turned over districts that were normally Republican. They turned them over to blue seats. But if you want a really good idea how bad this is for them, let's talk about two states, Mississippi and Georgia. Mississippi. Anyone who thinks Mississippi is blue, raise their hand. Yeah, I didn't think so. Might be only 3 people in there, but I know you ain't gonna raise your hand. But how you optimistic? How you doing? So and if you guys, if any of you want to come up, just ask. But he Mississippi turned three states in the legislature. And people go, well, that's only 3 seats. Yeah, but it took away the supermajority that Mississippi has, that the Republicans had in Mississippi, which is going to make it more difficult to pass legislation, which gives Democrats more power. And was unexpected. That really caught everyone by surprise. In Texas, I believe they flipped a seat. Although Texas is still being Texas. But here in Georgia, and I didn't know this election was going on. I feel bad. I should have known. That really bothers me. But we had an election for 2 public commissioners. Now, I did not know what a public commissioner was. I had to look it up. And I'm from California. So what the public commissioner is the equivalent of what they call the Utilities Commission in California. And the Utilities Commission and the public commissioners set the rates for utilities in the state. And now, for the first time in 25 frickin' years, there are Democrats in those commissioner seats. I'm sure Georgia Power is not happy right now. That was surprising. That was not even because that's a statewide election. Wow. I mean, okay. As soon as they said that, that tells you that what happened last night was bigger than they expected. Another point, in Colorado, they passed an initiative to tax the rich for schools. You see, people are now seeing not culture wars or left, right, red, blue. They're seeing up, down. They're seeing these people are taking everything from us and leaving us dry. And if you want another example how quickly this shit has turned, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, which was kind of a center point for a lot of the moms for liberty, the school boards, the book banning, the transgender, the banning the pride flags, everything but educating the children. They wiped out the entire school board in the sense that there are no Republicans in that house. There's no Republicans at all in any part of that county. They wiped them out. And you think in Pennsylvania is a blue? No, that's rural Pennsylvania. Okay? Rural Pennsylvania. And that was basically a statement that we're tired of this bullshit. Because the problem is, and you see it right now, Republicans can't govern because they don't do policy. They only do hate and performative stuff. I mean, think about it. Last year, with the last 2 years of the Congress that turned red, and you saw what they did for 2 years. Nothing. but sham bullshit. It was ridiculous. And that's what you're seeing right now in this Congress. Mike Johnson keeps talking about we're working hard. How are you working hard when you're not in the fucking house? Literally. Dude. I mean, he really thinks, and y'all, he really thinks we are stupid. That we're stupid. Now, he knows that the MAGA's stupid. The MAGA will buy into it because he's been feeding us the same thing over and over and over again. But to get up there today and say, we have done all these things and people appreciate what Republicans have been doing for them and we're working hard. You're not even working. And you're pulling a paycheck. All right. All right, Optimistic. I hope I'm better. I'm here still. Again, if you want to be a guest, just make a request. Also, yeah, I mean, that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I still shake my head on that. What he says that every day. And again, he blames the Democrats. And, well, by the way, have you seated Gravala yet? Nope. Nope. Because they're still hiding the Epstein files. Still hiding the Epstein files. All right, this is like, and they keep repeating the same thing, considering that we're going to buy the lie. The only problem you can't buy that lie is because the biggest example of what I was talking about before, up versus down, the biggest example of that is Donald Trump. Because all you got to do is see what he's done. You know, the East Wing of the White House wide for $300 million ballroom. When SNAP was, when everything was coming to a head and they were threatening SNAP before they took it away, and people are wondering what's going to happen. What did Trump put out pictures of? The tile the marble tile he put in the Lincoln bathroom. So I don't get that. It's a bathroom. Okay, yeah, you can have a nice bathroom, nice shower, maybe a full shower, a full body shower. That'd be nice, functional. You know, you just sit down, maybe a little reading rack, you know, that type of stuff. But what's with the marble tile? This is not a Roman bath, dude. It's a toilet. I mean, I'm being blunt. It's a toilet. What the hell? But, I mean, that's what he did. Okay? But again, flaunting wealth, flaunting our money. Where's that money coming from? Us. In a time of a government shutdown. And before that, $170 million to buy cosplay Barbie, her Learjets. That is not a necessity. My wife and I were going to BJ's to order groceries or order some stuff to bring in. And I mentioned something. She goes, is that a necessity? Do we need it? Well, I kind of like to have it. Yeah. Do we need it? No. Okay. I mean, that's the thing. It's coming to the point, and I want all of you, whether or not you agree with me, we're saying it now or later. We're coming to the point is, with Trump and the Republicans right now, with all of these questions about, you know, spending, even though the government shut down. It's that scene with, it's that bit in Family Guy with Stewie asking the dog, where's my money, man? Where's my money? I mean, you can spend it on ballrooms, man, but where's my money? Better have my money by 5. Where's my money? Because that's it. Where's our money? Because that brings us to SNAP. And you closed off SNAP because you're cruel. You're cruel. You shut it down because, even though the funding was there, you shut it down because you could, and also to pressure the Democrats. The Democrats think, oh my God, now all my constituents need their food. Every Democrat's on SNAP. Because that's what he said. Because they know that every Democrat uses, doesn't have a job, and they use SNAP. I mean, that's what they're thinking. And those people making all those videos going, oh, oh, yeah, yeah, we use Snap too. It's just ridiculous. So I laugh at that because it's silly. Because 22 of the 40 million people that use Snap, 22% of them work. Contrary to what you idiots think, they're not freeloading. They're not getting $1,100. No one owns a Cadillac is driving to get groceries on Snap. God, I've heard these before in the 80s. Why don't you get something a little newer? Okay? Try it. Try it. But then, so he does this. They pull the plug on Snap on that night, which is Halloween night. And what does Trump do? He's in Mar-a-Lago having a great Gatsby party from all his rich folk. That cost us $4 million, people. $4 million of our money for security. And probably he bought stuff. You know, $4 million. And the thing about it, though, I thought it was just a costume party. Oh, no. No, 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 no. They went 60s a go-go. They had a woman in a martini glass dancing in a revolving martini glass. They had dancing girls on the fucking stage laughing, and I'm going, okay, that's depraved. That's beyond depraved. People are struggling, and not only are they spending money on this lavish party and food and drink, but they brought in the Epstein flavor. So let's be honest. That tells you everything you need to know about Epstein. I'm sorry. That wasn't a party. That was party plus after party, if you know what I mean. Okay? Because I'm trying not to be too blunt, because I know TikTok, although no one's really watching this, but I'm just still trying to be careful here. I mean, that was like beyond anything. I saw that and I thought, oh, goddamn. That tells you exactly what's in the Epstein files. Tells you exactly what's in the Epstein files that they keep hiding. Wow. That was wow. And he did that, and everyone got outraged, but he doesn't care. And then when the pressure starts to mount up, he's telling the Republicans to the Senate to violate their sacred orders, because let's be honest, the rules in the Senate are weird. They're almost like a religion. You know, basically like a version of mass. And he wants to violate it to take that away so he can get a win. Because now it's not even about negotiations and compromise. Trump never negotiates or compromises. That's how he ran his business into the ground. Because he never would compromise. He never would adjust the business because he always knew better. And I will always say this to the end. How in God's name do you bankrupt a casino? The house always wins unless the house is run by Trump. And that's what I'm saying. It's right now, if they sat down, came up with a middle ground on the ACA, maybe not as long as they want, maybe we take this to, we'll revisit it after they open enrollment for next year, but at least, you know, let's go so we can get the government up there. And what happens? Bang. He won't do it. And that's the thing. Even Democrats saying, hey, we're ready for a meeting. Let's sit down in the open, do some negotiations. Trump won't do it. Because to him, negotiations make him look weak. But that's wrong. That's how you govern. That's not how you run a business. That's not how you do diplomacy. That whole East Asian trip was a disaster. Because he didn't bring in any deals. Okay? And also, his negotiations were do it my way. But they also played him. The Chinese played him. I mean, they said, yeah, we'll buy some of the soybeans now, but they didn't have. Did you get anything on paper? Did you get him to sign on a line which is dotted? No. Because all he wanted there was the pomp and circumstance. And you saw it. Leaders say that. Normally, they don't roll out the carpet and all the soldiers when you meet dignitaries. It's basically a small ceremony, then you go do business. But Trump, they know is manipulation. And that way they pet his ego. But this is what we're dealing with. And as long as he doesn't want to negotiate and Democrats stand firm, I think we're going to be okay. Because we're going to win in the end. Eventually Republicans are going to have to cave. And if Mike Johnson wants to hold down to give up Congress until January, that's going to cost them. They won't learn if they don't learn from last night. That's really going to cost them, and it's going to make it worse. Because let's talk about federal workers and paychecks. Okay, Trump has already sent out. They sent out another threatening letter saying, "Hey, if you're furloughed, we're not going to pay your back pay." Okay. Which makes me wonder about the next question about SNAP. Okay. Why do you send that out? Why do you say that? Why do you say that you won't use the contingency fund that was already in the rules to pay SNAP? It was already done before. Why? Because, ladies and gentlemen, the money ain't there. Money is gone. The money's been spent. And also, I'm guarantee you the reason they want to not pay the furloughed workers when they come back, because they spent too much money. It's a mess. And also, we have no economic, any kind of economic ups and downs. We have no economic information, but we know that the job market is getting hit. We know Amazon and a lot of these companies have been laying off thousands of people. Banks have been taking short-term loans for liquidity because people aren't paying their bills, not paying their mortgage, not paying their car payments, so banks don't have any liquidity. I mean, it's economically, it's not what he says. Because Trump keeps saying the economy's hot. If it's hot, like it's about to explode, like a volcano, like Mount St. Helens, and woof, everything's gone. Yeah, it's not hot. We're not producing jobs. We're not producing goods, and the prices of everything are higher. Those are facts, and that's where affordability was the message by Democrats, because they can see, are you right now affordable with the Republicans? No. Give us a chance, and we're going to do it right this time, because we're going to have a plan. Not that I'm going to wave my hands and everything gets cheaper. But, and Trump is totally lost. He has no idea what's going on because he's in a bubble. People around him basically tell him what he wants to hear to make him feel better about himself. He needs that. That's why he sent out that one, message about himself. Oh, yeah, the 60 Minutes interview being the highest 60-minute interview viewed ever, which is probably a lie. And then today, first of all, his press conference in front of the senators, he was not sounding good. Later, he went to Miami for some kind of meeting with business leaders. He didn't sound good at all. And he started talking about Cubans fleeing communist South Africa, and then threw in South America and talking about he was going to go to South Africa. And you're looking at him going, I'm like, oh my God. And this man has the nuclear codes. There is something right there physically and mentally. But they keep propping him up, you know, to use Pink Floyd, just a little pinprick to keep him going. But man, he is not with it. And then today, they made an announcement, two announcements. First announcement is by Friday, if the government is still shut down, which it probably will, because it'll take 2 or 3 days for Johnson, if they cut a deal in the Senate, for Johnson to bring back all his wayward congressmen from their vacations in Cancun. They're going to reduce capacity, air capacity, either, I don't know, airspace or airport capacity by 10%. Wow. Because they don't have air traffic controllers. Because they keep calling off. Yeah, of course they keep calling off because they're not getting paid and they're trying to get a life. They are pushing a little. Asgard SG1 says, I have a feeling some Republicans will start pushing back on Trump. They kind of have. One, they did it with tariffs. They did do, tariffs, a rebuke on the tariffs, trying to reduce them. And also, if they were really going to do what Trump wanted, totally hardcore, they would have gotten rid of the filibuster when he asked. All right. And let's see. This is not my cat. No, you don't have a cat, sir. Because if you had a cat, I wouldn't be blocking your account. So that's gone. Okay. Thank you. All right, I took care of that. All right, and then where was I? I just lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, so they're going to shut down the airports. Let's blunt it. They call it reduced capacity. They're shutting down airports because they can't get the air traffic controllers or TSA. There was, I saw a video of, I believe either Miami or Orlando, probably Miami airport, TSA lines. And I don't know why the airlines are not flipping out on it yet. I don't know why the airlines are not demanding something from the Trump administration like Walmart did. I'm surprised because if they do this, that's going to cost them millions a day because they're going to have to refund tickets, I hope. They're going to have to, it's going to be a mess. Yeah, in Houston also, lines are absolutely nuts. That's what Oscar said. Yeah, I can imagine. Because a lot of these people, they don't have a job. I'm hoping that the air traffic controllers, instead of blaming Democrats, what they tried to do the other day, you know, negotiate. Hey, here's the thing. You're telling Democrats to negotiate. They don't want to negotiate on the other side. You can't negotiate with yourself. You can't. They just sit there and do nothing. They won't talk. Because they know anytime if they do set the balls to sit down and negotiate, come up with a deal, it probably would get to the House whether that Johnson likes it or not, if he opens the House to hear it. If he gets to Trump's desk, he's going to veto it because he wants to win. And winning isn't a negotiation or compromise. Winning is my way or the highway. That doesn't work. It never works. It doesn't work in life. Okay? But I don't know if they will. Asgard said, hope they help him by Friday after last night. Trump knows all on him and Republicans. But here's the thing. They said, they now are saying that the Republicans are going to talk about affordability. They're not going to talk about culture. They're going to talk about affordability. How they as the Republican Party, can make everything better for Americans. Didn't you fucking run on that last year? And you haven't done shit, and you have no plans to do it? How are you going to make everything more affordable for Americans when they can't get health care? Is too expensive? Or you cut Medicaid. and people don't have their health care or they don't have their medications? How are you going to make groceries cheaper when you keep the tariffs? How are you going to make it more affordable if the tariffs keep raising prices? Yeah, Asgard SG1. Did I hear some about Pelosi retiring? Yes, she is stepping away. So it's going to be a new congressman there, and that'll be a Democrat because that's the way it's going to work. Because she sees the signs, and I think Mondami warned them all. And here's the thing: this is not, to an extent, about democratic socialism. Okay. This is about returning to what the war on poverty was and then rebuilding it in a way that is more solid and helps more people. Okay? And you could start with the ACA or the medical, because the original idea with Obama was universal health care. But you couldn't do it because there were going to be, if you look back in the history in 50s and 60s, they were talking about universal health care. Something based on the British system. Do you know why they killed universal health care? Because it meant people of color being part of it. That's right, folks. They didn't want them color folks being in the hospitals or getting treatment. Oh, hell no. So that's why it didn't pass. That's why Obama could not get universal health care. He came up with the ACA, which was basically privately run through private insurance companies, but with government support, a hybrid. So that's, great as a hybrid. And then, but it had its flaws. Of course, it had its flaws. They had to work it out. All right, it was not the thing that the Tea Party put it as. It was not crazed socialism. It was a compromise, a private and a way to bring in private companies to manage the healthcare system. Okay, and then we'll cover the difference. That's what the subsidies are about. Okay. Wait a minute. He's been your president for another team. Oh, look. Hey, 5 in a pack. You're gone. Goodbye. I'm not dealing with y'all. Because I'm not even going to bring up Biden. We're done. We're done. Okay. So, we're done. God, these people, I swear. Get a new argument. Because bringing up Biden and bringing up Obama is, no. He is the president. All right. And don't say he's been president for how long it takes. He's been president for 10 years. He's been messing this for 10 years. He was president before, and no. Sorry. Goodbye. I'm not doing that. I'm tired of that argument. Okay. And the thing about it is, all you got to do is uplift the ACA subsidies. My idea of universal health care is simple. You put a cap on. Hey TJ, how you doing? I'm gonna make you a moderator. Give me a minute, so you can get some of these chuckle fucks that are coming in. That was not. That's something I didn't want. So give me a minute. Viewer. Now I'll try to figure it out. I'm still kind of limited in my lives, but we'll point it out. Hey TJ, how you doing? I don't know if I can get guest. Give me a minute. The system is really weird. Okay, here we go. Maybe I got you. Hold on a second, TJ. Oliver's mom. TJ, if you want to send something up so I can get you up here so we can talk. But yeah, I'm not playing that game. Yeah, I can get guests. I'm just not. Let me try here. Give me a second. Quick invites. They changed this thing. They really changed this thing. So, overall. Oh, let's see how this goes. Maybe it'll work this time. Give me a minute here. Chalk gas, plate book, wallpaper, mirror, mic home, remove background. Well, let's see how this goes. I haven't played with this in so long. But, it's a, it's a, no. And my idea is that you have a cap on how much people pay into their system based on the amount of care they want, and then the government picks up the rest. Hospital care, durable equipment, all of it. You get small co-pays. Okay, see a doctor is $20. All right, you have a minimum per month payment, but then the government foots the rest. So you can still see private companies and insurance companies make money, but it isn't on people. So it's like a strange. That's my idea. I think that would work, but you know, you never know. I'm really. That's what I wanted. Okay, switch. Give me 1 second to see if this will work. Huh, not switching. I thought I could do that. Hold on 1 minute. Okay, gotcha. No problem, I got you, Asgard, later. Where am I here? I hate being looking. This is just drives you nuts. There it is. Fewer wishes. Poll and vote. Question. Whatever. I had it a moment ago. Here we go. More settings. Dismiss. Ranking. Servers. Moderators. And what else I can do here? I'm still with you guys. I'm just kind of. I should have done this before, and this is on me. Anyway, all right. So moving forward. For some reason, I do not know why this thing is doing its thing, but c'est la vie. All right. So it is not. So what we're dealing with, and that's my idea for the ACA, but they don't want it. They want to kill it because they want people to suffer. I mean, I'm always wondering what Republicans keep saying, hey, we are the party of healthcare. I ain't seen it. No, you're the party of whatever. And it ain't helping the American people. But I want to talk about, as we come pretty much close to the end of this, about Trump's mental state, about his health, about what's going on with him. Now, let me back up. I want to talk about something first. I want to talk about ICE. Oh, I so desperately want to talk about ICE. I think one of the things we saw today, we've seen with the frustration with Americans and why they voted like they did, is all the things that are coming out with ICE. I think that's really, really, really affecting Americans because they're seeing the atrocity that is ICE. They had a court hearing on the, I think it's Belmont or Bellevue, the one in Illinois, the detention center outside of Chicago, where people were describing the conditions. Multiple people shackled into cells designed for one, lack of food, lack of sanitation. The judge himself said he compared it to a concentration camp. And then you see the videos of ICE agents. One in Chicago, they bumped into a lady's car. Okay? And then they got out and dragged her out of her car and arrested her for, we don't know. The spokesperson says because she was trying to attack officers. Yeah, you grabbed her without identifying who you were, and so she fought. What the hell you think you're doing? They held her for 3 days and then they released her. Okay? They're picking up American citizens. Don't fake it, Barbie. It's not true. American citizens are getting picked up. And today, ICE agents went into a daycare, and grabbed the teacher in front of the students. and dragged her out. And one of them was a black man. And what bugs me more than anything is black and Hispanic men and women doing this. Do you really think you're part of their club? I mean, are you that desperate for a job that you do that? Or are you just hateful people and just need an idea? You need something to be so you can feel bigger against other people. I do not understand you. I will never, ever understand you if you're a person of color doing this. I will never, ever, never get you. Because you know better. We all know better. Okay? We know better. We know what it's like to be the other. So, I mean, what makes you think that they're going to welcome you into their club? And they're going to get worse. Okay? Now that this has happened, the election, they're going to get worse. There's no two ways about it. They are going to get worse. It's going to be, it's going to get more and more egregious because they keep looking for soft targets. And warnings coming up, okay? And I think a lot of people have said this. Yeah, ICE, you think that everything's cool, that you're getting away with everything. Let me make this clear. There will be a reckoning. And that reckoning is going to cost you a lot of time away from everyone. Because you guys have proven that you don't have any humanity. You're ghouls. You're not enforcing the law. I mean, there are laws, but there's a way of doing it. Again, they've been breaking into homes without warrants. They grab people and there's no probable cause. I saw a video, one guy, they said, he goes, "Why'd you stop us? Where you from? You born in this country? Why do I have to tell you anything? Why are you stopping us? You have to tell me." "No, we don't." "Yes, you do." That's the thing. We have rights. The Constitution guarantees you rights in this country, period. Even if you're temporarily here as a guest, or not a guest, or visiting. If you're arrested, you have rights. The Constitution's clear. But you guys are taking this mass deportation thing to the new level. And basically you're just terrorizing your citizens because that's what pleases your God. He is a God of terror and fear. Terror and fear. And the party, Republican Party, is a party of fear. There is no hope there. They don't give you hope. They don't make you feel better about your situation. They don't want to empathize with who you are. No. They want you to fear everything and give them power that way. That's what they do. That's what the Republican Party and Trump and all his sycophants and Stephen Miller and all of them do. They have getting off on fear for years. And the problem is fear and leads to hate, and hate makes people feel good. Because when you have nothing, when you don't care for anything, when you don't love anyone, not especially yourself, hate is a great thing because it kind of keeps you warm. But it's kind of like lighting a fire with a bunch of newspaper. Yeah, it's really hot, but it doesn't last long. So you've got to keep feeding the fire the newspaper. There's nothing that doesn't keep up. It's nothing there. You don't create anything. It's not like building a fire one step at a time till you get charcoal and you can keep reigniting it. And it builds up heat and it serves everybody. No, you can't use Tinder all the time. It doesn't work like that. I mean, and that's what we see all the time lately. The hate, the judgmentals, and all under the Christian flag, under the Christianity. And I'm a rogue Christian. I don't go to organized church. Organized church are run by men. And men corrupt everything. All right. But Jesus did say to feed the poor, love your neighbor, grace, empathy. That's something that he's taught us, period. That's Christianity. What I hate is these people who do hateful things and then say Jesus saves. Yeah, well, you better talk to him because he ain't going to save your soul because you're not doing stuff. You lost your soul. Okay? And that's what I'm saying. It's like they do all this under the guise of Christianity. They're not Christians. To me, evangelicals are a cult. And before you get on me, my mom went to we were evangelical for a while when I was a kid in the 70s. And that shit has not changed. They're cults. It's more about the leader than it is about God. Period. It's more about forcing their beliefs on someone so you can follow their leader than follow God. Sound familiar? Because they've replaced God with Trump. It's the truth. You know it is. I mean, that whole one thing why Trump wants to go to war with Nigeria, because it's a false victimhood created by the evangelicals who have an office next to the Oval Office to advise Trump on religious matters. See my point? And so they came up with this persecution of murders of Christians. That is not happening. They know that there's no proof on it, but he wants to go to war with Nigeria. A holy war. Venezuela, they challenged him. They're still illegally destroying ships in international waters. And Trump is having Pete Hesketh is having military leaders sign NDA contracts. Look, that's reality show bullshit. Those are military men who follow the Unified Code of Military Justice. Not an NDA, like it's some fucking show, reality show. Who does that? This is incompetence on a new scale. Okay? And you kind of sit there and go, shit. And you kind of go, how do we get around it? Well, we saw last night how we do it. So the thing I'm going to tell you, Trump and the Republicans are going to ramp up we will make America affordable again. Don't buy their bullshit. The mass media will come up with all the plans they have, but it's all lies. Because here's the thing. You told us you were going to do it, you didn't. Now you're going to tell us you're going to do it again, it ain't going to fly. If that's your plan, good luck. If you're going to get rid of, if your idea is that you cannot do the culture wars, you're not going to do that, good luck with that. You're going to fall right back on that like you did at the end of this election in New York. That's what you do. It's who you are. Literally, you can't change. You're too in deep. You're desperate. And that's what it is. So now where we're at. Okay, so where we're at is that we've got a big win. That's a huge win. The more they tell you, it didn't mean shit, it meant shit. It's like the No Kings protest. But be prepared for an uptick of ICE atrocities, the threats of the National Guard going into cities, the squeezing more of services, threats of not paying people after the shutdown is removed. A lot of stuff is gonna come at us hard and fast. What we gotta remember is that we, when given a free election, when it is our time to speak, because power comes from the people, we make our voices heard. And that's what happened last night. I was a little bitter. I said, why didn't that happen last year? I mean, I was a little pissy about that. Because if we had that same kind of oomph, we wouldn't be here. But here's the thing, and it finally hit me after I finally calmed down, is that the reason it worked this time, because finally they didn't believe us when they said this was going to happen. Well, it happened. And everything we said happened. And now they're going, oh, hell no. No, we're not doing this. That's why Trump can't walk back this affordability thing. That's why Trump and the Republican Party and Heritage Foundation can't walk it back. Because you can't lie to the people and say, no, it's not going to be that bad, because we've seen it as that bad. And unless they get a handle on the economy, it's going to get worse. Because remember, ladies and gentlemen, they are incompetent. Every one of those cabinet members are incompetent fools. And all it takes is one giant catastrophe, and then we're all going to be in a big shit-eating sandwich. And that's what's actually going to solidify their fall. Unfortunately, we had a win yesterday, which I'm really happy for. But unfortunately, it's the beginning. It's the beginning of trying to get our country back. And I'm hoping in 2026, when we do this again on the election, it's the beginning of the end. Okay? So, do not, and also, to the Democratic Party, stop it. Let go of the AIPAC money. Tell them to tell them to go pound sand. Concentrate on what we can do to make things affordable, not what I think Mondami in one speech, in one debate against Cuomo, put it succinctly. You're looking at a man who tells you what we can't do. I'm the one, if you vote for me, I'm going to tell you what we're going to do, we're going to try to do. You see? That's the message from the Democratic Party. It's enough of, well, we can't do that because, we want bipartisan and we don't want to upset people. No. It's time to say, if you want to find out what you can't do, what we can't do, vote for Republicans. You want to find out what they're going to take away from you, vote for Republican. But if you want to find out what government can do for you, how we can make this a better country for everyone, that everyone can strive to be the best, and we're going to show you a plan to do it, and it's not going to sound convoluted or anything. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to make sure that the rich pay their fair share, so all of us can take part in the American dream. Watch what happens. That's the key. Don't defend, and also don't defend culture. And they go, well, you support this as a... Yes, I do. Everyone should be a right to do whatever they want. Now, this is how we're going to make things affordable. See what I'm saying? It's done. They see it. And they're going to... And I don't think they can walk back who they are. So that's a plus through all this. It was bad that we didn't have this a year ago for Kamala Harris. If there's a bright side, these people now know, oh shit, they were right. Yep, we were right. Now, let's make it right. All right, thank you for those who participated in this live. I'm going to put it up on YouTube if you didn't catch it. If you want to catch, you can see me here on TikTok at RJ12764 on TikTok. You can catch me on Substack at Binder38US and Substack. You can catch me at Binder38US and YouTube. I do have a paid subscription on Substack. If you're interested, please subscribe. I don't have a paywall for stuff, but that would support my work. If you're interested in a one-time donation, or if you have any questions for me or want me to address something, you can reach me at my email, which is KUMQUAT, the number 6 at Outlook.com. We'd love to hear from you. Love to answer your questions. I do have a PayPal or Venmo. I'll send you the link if you're interested in donating to my work. Thank you for listening. Remember, as I always end everything that I do now, there is more of us than there is of them. You have a good rest of the evening. You all be safe.